Well, we're back for another cobra video. Won't be too exciting tonight. It'll be sanding, sanding. You get to see how easy this superfill sands out, or how hard it is, depending on what's going on. It's been drying now since last night. John has my spinner nuts made, and I will be going over there, but they're calling for snow here, and if it's snowing, I ain't going. Now you can see why you have to have the balsa hardened up before you put the superfill on. I just hope my guess on the spinner location is correct. I'll probably have to sand it in anyway, but because I didn't have a spinner nut, I just kind of guessed. We shall see how it goes. Let me get this here. Gonna get this in case there's any comments that come up. I need to turn off the banners. Stop the ticker. There we go. So let's see what we want to do here. Let's see which one of these. Still not right. We need to get that other flat rubber. Polywog. Where the heck did it go? Oh, there it is. See if this helps get that sanded out. I think I can get it all sanded out in an hour. You can see just how easy that stuff does sand out. This is 180. Hey, hello. Let's sand the cowl out now, or the canopy out, I mean. I'm not real familiar what's going on with, hey, Blazing Plains, hello. What's going on at the White House with the gay executive order, but I got to tell you guys, there's two genders. You got an innie, you're a woman, and if you got an outie, you're a man. Look at Kindergarten Cop. Pretty simple. And if you're a subscriber and don't get that, oh well. See, this stuff stands just like balsawood. It's the greatest stuff since sliced bread. It's just great. You know, Jim asked me if I'm going to put wheel pants or wheel doors on this. You know, the more I think of it, I don't think I'm going to put any on it. I think I'm going to leave that up to whoever gets it if it lasts that long. Because they're going to fly it in the grass and tear them off anyway. I don't fly in the grass much. The beginner guys are kind of worried about hitting the ground. Yep. $1,000 per tank, you bet. Oh, they'll look better when they're sanded out. I think there's I don't think he's long for this presidency. I think American people have just about had enough. Lower approval than Nixon had. Okay. When I was driving a truck, I don't remember what it used to cost to fill them tanks, but it wasn't cheap. That's been 20-some years ago that I drove truck. More than that, 30 years ago, because it was in the 90s. First thing I let go was my hazmat endorsements, because it got to be crazy. And I just let my CDL go this last license trip because they want that real ID for CDL, and I'm not playing their games. My dad always told me the government federal ID is not the way to go. So I just have a driver's license, a state chauffeur's driver's license now. But I used to have a Class A CDL combination and air brake. It's not worth the hassle to play with these guys. A little 320 on there. See how it feels. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it one more coat of Z-epoxy on the nose. But I won't do that until after I go to John's and get the spinner on there and then make any adjustments I need to make. We got some superfill on them things. Yeah, it'll work, man. I got some dry slide. Well, we got 12 watchers. You guys just love watching me sand. Got more watchers sanding than I do building. This is the most important tool of the whole build, the sandpaper. And if you can learn how to use the sandpaper, you can make a nice model airplane. On a big airplane, when you're done sanding, you sand it again. On this little one, we're not going to go through all that. I'm sure I'll sand it 2 or 3 more times, but I'm not going to quite do as much as I do on big airplanes on this. Put a piece of tape on this. Yeah, I better stop there. Knowing when to stop is another important part of sanding. I'm starting to see the blue pinstripe through the fillet. It's pretty light, so if you sand any more, you'll sand into the pinstripe. And that'd be no good, because then I'd have a repair I'd have to do. "15 watchers now. Sanding and banter." You guys can't get enough of me sanding. You want to sand until, hey, Jim, Joanne, okay, I'm going to show you a correctly sanded out fillet here. As soon as I get it done, I'll give you a close up. And it didn't take but 15 minutes to do the first one, or probably 10 minutes, because I did the nose here. Now I use this stuff called simple acro green. Never put acro green in a fillet. If you do that, it will surely lift on that acro green. Okay, now the hardest part, around the leading edge. God, I hate it. Probably going to have to give it another touch up of superfill in there. Doesn't look like there's enough material. That's okay. We'll catch that at a off camera. Yeah, I got it. What do you know? I'm playing the violin here. Nope, I need another coat on there. Okay, all except for this front part here. This is a correctly sanded fillet. This front part needs a little bit more superfill in it to get a nice rounded edge there. I mean, most guys would let it go, but I can't. Just even on a free airplane. Needs a little more sanding back there. One of you guys asked how good does it stick to the monocoat? Well, what do you think? Does it stick pretty good? I think so. 19 minutes in. Okay, that's one side there. Let's do the rudder next. I missed a spot. Missed a spot. Well, tonight's the night I become 100% debt free. 100%. I'm waiting till my paycheck gets in the bank before I whack it. Yeah, I think it needs another coat of epoxy on it. I don't know how much that's going to add, but got to make it look good. Only bad thing is, I think Stunhanger is going to hit my card another $1,400, so I'll have to figure that out. But that won't take long to pay off. I think it's this month. This is March. Shoot, I didn't check that card. It might have already done it. Yeah, it only took 5 years. See, the thing was, when I was working for Harley Davidson, I was making big money. And you get used to that lifestyle of making big money, you spend big money. Now I don't make any money, so I don't spend any money. But I will tell you guys this, it's getting ready to collapse. So get out from underneath as much as you can. If you think I'm being paranoid, I'm not. I can see the writing on the wall. The Ponzi scheme can't go on forever. That's something that I always wondered. If we're a sovereign nation, why do we have to borrow money? I thought in the Constitution it says we print our own money. Look in the phone book for Federal Reserve. It's right next to Federal Express. Private company. Not federal, and it's not a reserve. It's a joke. They hoodwinked us. Well, that looks pretty good. That's 180. 320. Okay, let me see if you can see this. You see right there? That's sanded through the Z-epoxy, so that has to have some Z-epoxy put back on it. You want to make the Z-epoxy as thin as possible, but you don't want to make it that thin. I think I'll probably just paint the nose and do the touch-ups on the Z-epoxy. Right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we'll see how this is dull and that's shiny. That shiny spot is a low spot. So we got to dig it out of there. 16 watchers. Like, subscribe, share, super chat. Please consider joining and becoming a member. It helps me with material and things. It's $4.99 a month. You won't even miss it. Helps the channel grow. I don't push the memberships enough. We have 3 tiers. And as soon as I get some more members, I'll do some other special things. I haven't been doing much for my members. I need to do some more stuff for guys like Gary. And you get icons, and your name will be in green. I can tell who's a supporter and who's not. We got Gary Sinclair on here now. He's a supporter. This takes a lot of work to do. You wouldn't, you might not think so, but try to talk for an hour all by yourself. See if you can do it. And do it without cussing. There we go, Steve. Thank you very much for becoming a new member. Yeah, I need to promote that more. It's the join button down next to the subscribe button. Yay, we know who's where now. Charles asks more than I do, but it really helps me out for buying material. Can't say buying balsa because we can't get no damn balsa that's any good. I'm gonna have to call in some favors again, I guess. See if I can get some good contest wood. You can get all the 6-pound wood you want, but hard to come across 4-pound wood. I better do that right away because prices are going to go out of sight here shortly. Now the next step on this, hey Alan, another member. So we got EPP foam and carbon fiber. So we got Steve Berry just became a new member. Craig Biswick, Alan Sinner. I think that's how you say it. Signer. Where can you get entertainment? Where can you watch TV for $4.99 a month and have it talk back to you on a subject that you like? Okay, it took 30 minutes to do one side on the top. So it's an hour. It's going to be 2 hours to sand out fillets. I think the next thing I'm going to sand out is that pooch. You guys remember the pooch I did on the side of the fuselage? Right there? You won't even be able to tell it was there. I had to do that to clear the push rod. Now you can use 80 grit on this and it'll go fast. I'm not going to use 80 grit because I don't want to make a mistake. I use a lot of 80 grit when I'm building, but I'm too close to finish on this. So we use 180 and take a little more time. But once that's sanded out, signer. Okay. All it'll be there is a slight lump. There won't you won't see it, or you'll be able to feel it, but you won't notice it. And it's underneath the stab, so nobody will see it. I'm still debating on how to give this away and who to give it away to. I really don't want to see it hit the ground in the first flight. It'll be the second flight, or maybe the third. I mean, I'm going to fly it just to make sure it works. And yes, you guys will get to see it live out at the field. We're 12 watchers now, going up and down, up and down. Pretty boring to watch a guy sand. But this is what has to be done. We got 37 minutes in. You and John put a dozen flights on it. Hand it off then. Whatever happens, happens. Well, it sounds good, but let me tell you, I let Charles borrow my Junar. And he was at Brodax. That's where I met him, at Brodax. The story goes like this. He was at Brodax. I met him. Super nice guy. We come from basically the same area. So we kind of hit it off. Never saw him fly. He flew at Brodax with a borrowed airplane. I never saw him fly. He called me, or we got it. He was going to the Nationals, and he was going to ship a score, or whatever that thing is he flies. It's an ARF, whatever. And it wouldn't qualify for BOM anyway. So I said, just leave it at home. You can fly one of my airplanes. I had just finished the high roller. And I like to fly new airplanes at the Nats every year, or try to anyway. And I said, okay, you can borrow my Junar. I cut out some stickers on my sign plotter, put his numbers on it. I gave him the handle, a syringe, and a battery. He didn't bring anything except he brought his handle. That's what it was. I gave him the lines, a syringe and a battery, and a chicken stick. And I showed him how to start it. He said, I didn't watch him fly. Couldn't bear the thought of seeing my airplane hit the ground. But he didn't, so the only thing that happened to it is I did it. Going back to the L pad in the parking lot, which is gravel, put the airplane in the car, put my car carrier on the ground. The black tape picked up a rock off the car carrier and dropped it right through the wing. I did it on the way home, so that was the end of the meet anyway. The way it goes. I got that repaired. Jerry poked a hole through the leading edge. I got that repaired. Now I gotta drag that thing out and repair the paint on the elevator stabilizer. I might fly that this year. Again, it's such a good flying airplane. We'll see how it goes. 41 minutes in. It's going to take a little more than 2 hours to sand these fillets out. And we got some boogies there. I wonder how hard that's going to be to get off. Just like I knew what I was doing. I gotta turn this heater off. It's supposed to snow tonight. It's supposed to be 55 Monday. That's ridiculous. It's gotta be global warming. Oh, let's talk about that. For all you global warming nuts out there. Let me give you a third grade science class. Plants breathe in carbon dioxide. We breathe out carbon dioxide. For the exchange of that, during the process of photosynthesis, the plant makes oxygen, meaning the more carbon dioxide that the plant breathes, the more oxygen is in the air. So these guys talking about carbon emissions are full of BS. The only way you're going to control the weather is when you guys figure out how to get a thermostat on the sun. And that's a third grade science class. There's a guy with a model, a world model of temperature. It's risen 1/100th of a degree in 30 years. The planet will be here long after we're gone. As George Carlin said, the earth wanted plastic, so it created man. And when we're gone, it will be the earth plus plastic. I love George Carlin. Sorry to see he's gone. That guy was a wordsmith. I saw him on the Ed Sullivan Show when he was first getting going, when he had short hair and looked like a human being. Of course, I saw the Beatles in 1964 too, live. I didn't get to see Elvis live on the Ed Sullivan Show. I think we had 3 channels, and one was Ed Sullivan, the other one was Bonanza, and the other channel had Lawrence Welk on it. Now there's 300 channels of nothing on. I didn't quite get all that for some reason. I don't have cable TV anymore. I just use the internet and I stream what I want to watch. Let's see, we got 15 minutes. I might get that other fillet sorted out. 15 minutes. Charles flies his SV and Strega ARF. He says the Junar is the best plane he's ever flown. It's light. I think it's 56 ounces. 56 or I can't remember. It's been so long. 56 or 57. Got big time power too. When is Craig? I think it's Craig. Craig, when is that guy in Australia going to do them liners? Brian Gardner. That's who it is. Brian Gardner. I had that CRS going there for a minute. I ordered a 46 liner and 260 liners. Haven't heard nothing back. Shit, I might not even like flying this. I'll probably just do one flight and that'll be good enough. Just to make sure it works. Oh no. I thought he had a local machine shop doing it. Of course, out of the Ukraine would make sense. Oh boy. Looks like we're going to have another video of sanding. Of course, what's new? Yeah, gas is so expensive, I've only driven 30 miles this week. I'll have spaghetti tonight. Yeah, loaded up the sandpaper. Time to get a new piece or move it or something. Have to vacuum tonight. It's out of control. If I get an apartment inspection, say, what's all that blue shit on the floor? I hope you guys are paying attention to how I do this, because part of the technique or part of the airplane is the sanding technique. And everybody has their own signature, but in the end they all look pretty similar. They're done right. Yep, I got it. I got it. Let's see, we'll leave that on and put another piece up here because I still got more sand in the flat fillet. So I'm going to have to add some more superfill around here. It got light. Better to add than have way too much. You can't believe how stout this airplane feels. It's just like a baseball bat. I mean, that's built exactly as a big airplane. Carbon fiber doublers. I just use lighter wood. I use 1/4-inch plywood motor mounts instead of maple. Has a piece of 1/4-inch cross grain with 3/16 glued on top for the crutch. This is all glued. It's solid. It is solid. Balsa doublers with 2/10 carbon veil between them. Even the back feels super solid. So once you get all them, wow, look at all that mess. Once you get all them fillets sanded out with 180, yeah. I'm not going to make the whole thing, so I'll give a little explanation. Once you get this all sanded with 180, you want to go over everything with 320. Then I'm going to tape off the wings and the elevator, and I'm going to spray DC 540. Now that's the best primer I've ever used, DC 540. It took me 25 years to find it, and after 20 years they quit making it. And they still make it, but don't buy it because it ain't the same. The next best thing is the Crest primer, but it's $15 a can. DC 540 was $3.49 a piece, and I used to buy it by the case. Anyway, I got enough DC 540 that I found at work that I had put aside that I can do this airplane with. I got 2 cans. That'll be twice as much as I need. But we'll DC 540 this, then we'll sand it with 320, and DC 540 it again, and sand it with 320, DC 540, until it looks like plastic. There'll be just a thin layer of DC 540 on it. So this will be a light gray plastic looking thing. Then I'm going to use my airbrush. It'll be, maybe an ounce of dope on this. I don't know whether I'm going to do white or black. I haven't quite figured it out. It's one of them deals that you just don't know until I start painting. But it is going to have a scallop on it. And, I'll do my signature scallops on it if I can do it that small. And then after that's done, I'm going to shoot it with 2K clear. This from here forward, and the inside, it'd be 2K on the bottom too, and the inside all this with 2K clear. Do you then go to a finer grit? 320 is the grit that I sand down to until I get the dope on it. Once the dope's on it, and the colored dope gets sanded with 320. After the clear goes on, that's when you sand it with 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. And Jim is the guy who taught me about the 5,000, and that makes a big difference. It's like rubbing it with a piece of notebook paper. But it helped, and then I polish it with now I can't even think of it. I got a buffing compound that's made by 3M that's Finesse It. I buff it with Finesse It, and that brings the shine out. I'll even wipe the wings off with Finesse It to bring back some of the gloss on this. This pinstripe, after ironing it down, is really stuck down good. So I don't think that's coming up. I ironed all that down. That's automotive pinstripe. All right. Well, you've wasted another hour with me. Tinkering and sanding and bitching. You guys got any questions before I sign off? We got about a minute. I hope this works. I don't know what it weighs, but it's got to be getting heavier. I'm putting shit on it, so. As long as it balances, it'll be all right. This should be better in the wind than a big airplane. And you don't care if you dork it. Not that much work in it. Probably 40, 50 hours instead of 300. I'll have to go back and get all these half-a cobra videos into a playlist and see how many hours, count up how many hours it took to build this thing. All right, that's going to do it for this evening. I appreciate you guys watching the program. Fair winds, tight lines, and of course, let's go Brandon. See ya.